Dear children, in this video we are going to discuss about working of neurons and classification of neurons. Working of neurons. Each neuron is a separate structure. There is no cytoplasmic continuity between the neurons. They are connected only by the intervening junctions called synapse. The information passing through neurons are in the form of chemical and electrical signals called nerve impulse. The first neuron liberates a chemical substance known as neurotransmitter, which excites a fresh nerve impulse in the next neuron. One chemical transmitter is acetylcholine. Dendrites, the specialized tips of nerve cells, detect stimulus from the environment. After receiving information, the dendrites set off a chemical reaction which creates an electrical impulse. This electrical impulse acts as the message for the next neuron. This impulse travels from dendrites to the cell body and finally reaches axon endings. In the axon endings, electrical impulse set off the release of some chemical substances. These chemicals helps in transmitting impulse across synapse. In this way, the impulse is transferred from one nerve cell to another cell. Dear children, watch the video which is shown in your screen. So it shows how the neurons transmit electrical impulse from one neuron to another neuron cell.
Let me tell you about them. Dendrite receives information from the previous cell and conducts it towards the cell body. The cell body contains the nucleus, mitochondria, and other cell organelles. It takes care of the maintenance and growth of the cell. The axon conducts messages away from the cell body towards the next dendrite.
Classification of neurons based on its structure and its functions. The neuron may be of different types based on their structure and functions. Structurally, the neurons may be of the following types. Unipolar neurons. Only one nerve process arises from the cyton, which acts as both axon and dendron. Bipolar neurons. The cyton gives rise to two nerve processes, of which one acts as an axon while another as an dendron. Multipolar neurons. The cyton gives rise to many dendrons and axon.
Neurons are also of three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and relaying neurons. Sensory neurons transmit impulses from the sensory receptors to the brain and the spinal cord. Motor neurons transmit messages from the brain to muscles and glands. Relaying neurons are found in the brain and spinal cord. They serve as connectors between the sensory and the motor neurons.
On the basis of functions, neurons are categorized as sensory or afferent neurons, motor or efferent neurons, and association neurons. Sensory or afferent neurons. They carry impulses from the sense organs to the central nervous system. Motor or efferent neurons carry impulses from the central nervous system to effector organ such as the muscle fiber or the gland. Association neurons. They conduct impulse between sensory and motor neurons. Let's check your understanding. First question, what is synaptic transmission? The flow of nerve impulse from axonal end of one neuron to dendrite of another neuron through synapse. Second one, what are neurotransmitters? They are chemicals which allow the transmission of nerve impulse from one neuron to another. Example, acetylcholine. Third question, classify neurons based on its structure. The neurons, based on their structures, they are classified into unipolar neurons, bipolar neurons, and multipolar neurons. Fourth question, name the parts of neurons. A neuron consists of three basic parts, namely cyton, axon, and dendrites.